Our intrepid webmaster tonight, Greg Bishop, has pulled together items and oddities from all over the place, several of which focus on tonight's main subject. We call it Naps News. You can find it on the Coast to Coast AM website. There's a newly released interview with former Navy Commander Dave Fravor. He was the key witness in that New York Times story, which included an account of the now well-known Tic Tac UFO incident from 2004. Dave Fravor got the closest, had the best look at it. I asked Commander Fravor about reports that something was seen in the water underneath the Tic Tac back there in 2004. We posted one of the clips from that interview so you can hear it for yourself. And Dave has said this past week that he's done doing UFO interviews, so this might be the last time we hear from him on this subject. There's a really great tool, by the way, an exhaustive day-by-day list with links to all of the media stories, at least main media stories and interviews stemming from that New York Times story about AATIP and Tic Tac. Hundreds and hundreds of entries and interviews and stories from around the world. I don't know how our friend Giuliano has managed to keep up with all this, but it's a terrific resource for anyone who follows this topic. My guest tonight in the first half, Richard Dolan, writer and historian who has a broad view of the history of the UFO phenomenon. And he has said earlier this year the leak of certain documents he considers to be a milestone in the history of the UFO topic. Which documents do you mean? It relates back to an organization called NIDS, National Institute for Discovery Science. That organization was created, I think, in 1995 here in my hometown, Las Vegas, by billionaire Robert Bigelow. He put together a science advisory board consisting of an amazing group of people, scientists, academics, some intelligence folks who'd worked as scientists for intelligence agencies, physicists, medical experts. He had two astronauts. In fact, two astronauts who had both walked on the surface of the moon were part of this board. It was an amazing group of people. But one of those astronauts, Edgar Mitchell, passed away a few years ago, and all the documents that had been passed along to Edgar Mitchell, originating with NIDS, were left behind. And I think that's where we're going to get into this story, that some of these documents found their way to my guest, Richard Dolan, who's analyzed them and will explain their significance right after this on Coast to Coast AM. Richard Dolan, bring us up to speed on the Wilson documents, who Wilson is, and what the documents purportedly say.
Giuliana Marinkovića put together a very excellent annotated list of comprehensive links of all statements about the Wilson leak over the years, and I'm in there many times, as is Greer, as is a number of other people, Graham Cameron.